Hello, I'm Johanna, and you've probably seen me on my Instagram account, Johanna Kryer, and what I get often asked is what is my design process? I mean, I constantly change around at home. I'm never happy with anything. So I thought I would show you how I'm going to redo this living room and take you step by step from my design concept and my design thoughts. And then I'm going to show you my renovations and also the end product. So hope you want to be part of this journey, and let's get started. Alright, so what are my thoughts then? My problem is I have a really hard time with grey and white, and for some reason all of a sudden these past few years everything just has to be colourful and patterns and flowers and everything, and I think it's because it is so grey and dark in the winter that just having grey walls just gives me that same feeling as I did then. So we just fixed this room not too long ago. I mean 2 years ago. There used to be like a Carpe Diem kind of wallpaper up that always bugged me, so we brought in a painter and he painted it this really nice color, but it just it just didn't stick. So I'm gonna show you some of the wallpapers and you're gonna help me decide which ones I like, and we're gonna go from there. We're gonna match colors. This cabinet is also getting a whole makeover as well, and so it's gonna be, it's either gonna be amazing or it's just gonna be completely chaotic. But you know what? If it's chaotic, you can just redo it. So let's have fun! So Boråstapeter has released their new archive wallpapers, and I am crazy in love with all of them. So instead of just trying to decide online, I've actually ordered a whole bunch of wallpaper samples, so I can match things up at home and see which colors I actually like, see if I actually like the wallpapers in real life. So I can strongly recommend that that's something you do. And one of them that I'm really leaning towards right now is actually both of these. I love the color in Jane, Bring the Walls to Life, and then I actually really like this one too, and it's quite neutral, but it does have a pattern in it, the leaf pattern, and I think that really draws to me, especially since we do have the Apple wallpaper in the hallway. So I don't want it to be like super loud in here and then super loud in the hallway, because otherwise I'm just gonna end up changing another room, and I can't guarantee that I'm not gonna do that anyways. But I thought that if I could have like a nice what do you say, red thread doesn't make sense in English, that, but if it does look good in all the rooms, that it does, the consistency that it does look good in all the rooms, then I'm gonna be really happy. So let's go check the mailbox and see if the samples are there. So let's talk inspiration. What is my inspiration for this room? And I am really inspired by Carl Larson's kitchen, which is red details and green paneling. And since we do have paneling in here, I do not plan on actually painting those green and having red windows. But however, I am considering the thought of having green wallpaper and painting that cabinet over there terracotta red. So I actually do have a paint can already from Nordsjö, and hopefully one of the wallpapers is going to work. So I just bought this cabinet for maybe a month ago, and it's very white, and yes, it does look good. It does match this room, but it's still not what I want. So this is actually the color. I saw this color in the store and I went bananas for it, and all of a sudden this was my inspiration. It was a color. So from there I had to decide, what am I going to do with that? I mean, I could have this, but I don't think it really works with the grey. So I wanted to have some sort of color on the wall, and that's when I got inspired by Carl Larsson's kitchen, as it was this kind of red color along with the green. And since I am a huge fan of green, I'm definitely leaning towards this one right here. So I figured that would be really nice on the walls, since it's only half walls. And then having the cabinet in this terracotta color. And then to make it a little bit more interesting, actually having this inside the cabinet. So I'm going to show you how that looks. So this is another great reason why it's great to buy these samples beforehand, because then you can actually test them in the space that you want them beforehand. So let's see how this will look. Hoping I can focus though. But I think that's going to be really nice. God morgon. Ska inte du sova mer?
Jo.
Ska du gå och lägga dig i din säng då? Godnatt. Okay, so I actually really love this combo. And I really want this wallpaper in another room in the house. I'm wondering if I would go white or grey though, just because I've just said that I'm not a fan of either white or grey, but there's something so lively about this wallpaper. And it does go really well with this color. So this is why you make mood boards, so you know exactly what you want, rather than be like me and can never decide. Okay, so this is another combo I am totally in love with. I mean, I never thought I would have pink walls, but this is something else. I mean, look at that combination. I am so torn. I'm gonna need to do some mood boards, because this is amazing. And I think it will go really nicely with all the details I have as well. Maybe. Okay, so since choosing a wallpaper can also be kind of stressful, I mean, this is kind of a feature you're gonna have to commit to, then it's kind of nice to actually set up the wallpaper samples on the wall and leave them there for a couple of days so you can see if it really is something you like or not. So that's what I've done, and now I've actually decided which ones I want. So I have decided I'm going to go with 2021 Bladverk from Boråstapeter's archive collection. And I've also gone with, you can see it's still stuck in the cupboard here, Dahlia Garden 7688 from Falsterbo 3. So this is a limited edition kind of terracotta red orange color Dahlia wallpaper from the popular Dahlia's wallpapers then. So I'm really excited about this. So this is actually going to go inside the cabinet. So I'm going to be painting the cabinet this nice terracotta color from Nordsjö. And then I'm going to have this one on the walls, and it is half walls. So these are going to go on top. I'm going to actually keep the base, the paneling white, and have the green wallpaper on top. That way it doesn't become too dark, especially in the winter time. And then have this one inside the cabinet. So Now you're gonna get to see the whole transformation.
I got all the swing in me. I got all the 1, 2, 3. I got all the swing in me. Dance with me, dance with me. I got all the swing in me. I got all the 1, 2, 3. I got all the swing in me. Dance with me. I got all the swing in me. I got all the 1, 2, 3. I got all the swing in me. Dance with me, dance with me.
One thing that I've learned from painting numerous amounts of furniture and also painting walls is that I tend to always go for the cheap tape. And what I've learned is don't ever buy the cheap tape, buy the more expensive tape. I'm using a better high quality tape from Ambiance, and that's because when you use the cheaper tape, the paint actually just bleeds through, so you end up having to do double the amount of work, because once you've peeled the tape off, you now have to figure out how you're going to remove the paint from the surface as well. So this is a better quality tape, so this should make it a lot easier when you're going to peel it off later, and you shouldn't have any bleeding lines. So that's my best tip.
I got all the swing in me. I got all the 1, 2, 3. I got all the swing in me. Dance with me, dance with me.
The first thing I'm going to do now, I'm actually going to take off all of the silverware and all the hinges, all the little handles and stuff. I'm going to take those off because I don't actually want them to be silver. So I'm going to give them a good clean first to make sure that I get rid of all fat, oils and dirt and stuff from these. And then I'm actually going to spray paint them black. And also when you're choosing a spray paint, make sure it is a spray paint that works for metal or what you're going to be using it for, so it's actually more durable. So we're going to take these off, and then going to take these outside and spray paint them. So before I start painting, I'm going to wash all the pieces, all the hardware pieces with a paint wash them. So this is going to get rid of all the oils and all the fats, all the dirt and stuff off the hardware before we can start painting, so the paint should stick this way. So I'm not gonna lie, this is my first time using spray paint, so I'm kind of nervous but also really excited to try this out. It's kind of one of those things that I feel like you just have to do at some point. So I'm just waiting for the pieces to dry, and then we can go crazy and spray them black. Another good tip is maybe check to see what color paint you have, because I ordered black online and I got pink. So it's a good thing I didn't spray all my hardware with this. Choosing these big projects when you have 2 kids at home is quite difficult. So today is actually Saturday, so that means that my fiance is home, so he can actually take care of the kids. So because they also think it's a lot of fun to be part of all my projects, we have fixed really fun activities for them outside today. So they have a pool, a water set, a bigger pool over there. I mean, anything to keep them outside so that I can now clean these pieces. And then since the hardware is stuck on the actual cabinet, I'm gonna have to spray paint them on the cabinet. So I'm gonna do that first before I paint the rest of the cabinet. All the hardware has been spray painted now. So now it's just about cleaning the furniture and taking out my paintbrush and roller. Favorite paintbrush to paint with. And then also using these skinny rollers. These are really nice to get a nice flat surface. Because this piece is already being painted, then I don't need to use any sandpaper, but you can also use a sandpaper to clean off the surface first before you start painting to get a flatter surface and so that the paint sticks. Now the last thing I'm going to do today before I get to enjoy the sunshine and my Saturday is spray with a Pro Paint transparent spray. So this is going to help lock the paint and it's going to make it a little bit better since it is hardware. So it's going to be taking a lot of abuse and use. So it's better to use one of these sprays afterwards. Alright, time to let it dry. Till tomorrow. And enjoy my Saturday. Skål! So I definitely thought that I had more free time to do this project. I didn't realize that the kids were, or Molly was actually going on summer vacation already. I thought I did have an extra week to finish this project, but now I have both the kids at home and both of them really want to be with me at all times. So this is taking a lot longer than I thought it would. Luckily I had a couple hours on the weekend, but I'm gonna have to try and figure out how I'm gonna tire out these kids today so that I can have at least a couple hours to finish painting this cabinet today. And then after that I have to take everything down and wallpaper the walls before midsummer weekend, so wish me luck. Okay, so the hinges are actually integrated into the actual cabinet, so I've spray painted them black just like the rest of the hardware, and I'm going to be using plastic wrap so that I can form it around the hardware so that I don't get any paint on them. There may be a better trick to this. I haven't figured one out, but this seems to be working. It seems to work really well with the rest of the pieces, so we'll see how much is actually red around it or how much is black around it, but better than having to do the work twice anyways. So I'm going to continue doing this on all 4 of the remaining hinges, and then I get to paint the rest of this red. This is a good trick if you know you're going to be painting more than one day. Instead of having to wash the brushes and the rollers every single day, just wind them up into a plastic bag and then they're ready to use the following day. So I've done this, and this actually works how many days in a row that you're going to be painting. And then when you finish you can wash them, so then you can skip that process because that really is the worst part. And a good tip for painting is start with the paint in the middle and then work upwards and downwards. And especially when you're doing doors and when it's standing up, because this is going to prevent dripping. So for the most part the cabinet is finished now. I'm just waiting for it to dry, and then I'm going to see if there's any little touch-up areas that I need to paint over. I can already see here that I'm going to have to go over the black here because it did seep through the plastic wrap that I had wrapped around the hardware, but for the most part it did work, so I'm not actually too worried about that. That's just about repainting those bits. This post is in collaboration with Boråstapeter, so from them I have received a really nice kit to help me set all this wallpaper up. So I've received their own wallpaper paste, and this is in powder form, so you actually mix it with water, stir it for 2 to 5 minutes, wait 15 minutes, and then you can use it. So this is a great way for actually sending things. So it's a lot better environmentally as well than having giant plastic buckets, and this can be used for up to 5 rolls, so that's amazing. I mean, I usually have like a giant container with paste, so I really like this option. And then I have a nice wallpaper kit here, so I've got my roller, knife, blade, everything I need for wallpapering. The only thing I'm going to switch out is I actually prefer using a ruler and a blade to actually slice, because I feel like, well, in my experience, I think it's a lot easier than using one of these tools. And then, of course, the beautiful wallpaper. I have this beautiful wallpaper called Bladverk from 2021's their archive. So this is what I'm going to be using on the walls. And then I also have Falsterbo Dahlia Garden 7688, which is going to be inside of the cabinet. Really beautiful, and I believe this is a limited edition as well, so don't miss on this wallpaper because it is absolutely stunning. So now it's time to say goodbye to the grey walls. Bye bye. And let's make them green. So my biggest tips for wallpapering is using a laser. I feel like this just makes life so much easier. I know they cost a fortune. I'm lucky enough to actually borrow mine. Borrow this from my fiance's company, Carlford Big. So they use this laser, and I got to borrow it, and now I can't use anything else. So all I do is I set it up like so. Hold on, where's the on switch here? There we go. And then I'll stand it upright. And it is on a gimbal, so I can easily just set it up. And now I know exactly where I'm going to be starting. This way I'm always guaranteed a straight line. So let's start right there. Alright, so it's the end of day 1 and I have wallpapered half the room now. So the plan now is to put the kids to bed, and once they're asleep I can put up the curtains again, so that should be finished. And then hopefully by tomorrow I should have this entire room complete. So then the fun part begins, and when I get to put everything together and start decorating. And put this piece together, and then we get to do wallpaper the inside of that, so that should be fun as well. Good night! Alright, it's the final stretch now. Just have this last bit to do. You see here. Ooh. There we go. So hopefully the kids can leave me alone, but right now they are quite fussy, so we'll see how much I actually get done now in this time. But otherwise it'll be an early nap time, so I can get this bit done. And then I get to finally put the room together and put all the decorations, and also it finally becomes a living room that I can be in. Yee. So one of the hardest part with wallpapering is those pesky corners, as you can see here. And the reason is why is because you can't just take a ream of wallpaper and put it against the wall and just shove it into a corner. You're going to get air bubbles, you're going to get space underneath, it just doesn't work, and then you're going to have to try and line them up once you've gone to the other side as well. So I'm going to show you my trick as to how I work with corners. So this is what I do. I will post, I put a straight piece onto the wall. So this could be either a ruler, and if you don't have a ruler, something, as long as it's a straight edge, this works really well. And from there, just mark where you know the wallpaper and the corner meet, and then add a centimeter. So as you can see here, I have added roughly a centimeter, a little bit more, just so that when this falls over, I can then attach this next piece of wallpaper without having to work with air bubbles or anything like that, and you won't have any gaps as well. Then you're going to roll out your wallpaper on the floor, and you're going to draw out the same lines. As you can see here, I've marked my lines, and I'm going to follow that all the way for the entire strip that I'm going to need. So I've measured out roughly based on the actual pattern here how much I will need. And then I'm just going to cut that out and apply it to the wall. Ska du hjälpa till?
Jag är jättefin när jag gör det här.
Ja, du är duktig med det här.
Va?
Ska du också tapetsera?
Ja, kanske. Om jag vill.
Mm.
Och kanske jag kan limma med dig.
Ska du limma?
Ja.
Mm.
Jag gillar att limma.
Tycker du om att limma?
Ja, jag gillar att limma.
Men du får bara göra det här nu, eller hur?
Ja.
Får man göra så här när mamma inte är här?
Nej.
Nej.
Man får göra det med mammor.
Mm. Alright, so I finished wallpapering the entire room now, and it looks amazing. I love this wallpaper so much. But this is the tricky part. Now we're going to be wallpapering inside of the cabinet. Now this would be a lot easier if it didn't have a curved roof on this cupboard. So that's going to be a bit of a challenge, but otherwise I think it's going to work really well. So I am using, like I said before, Dahlia Garden. And I'm going to be using a sharp blade and wallpaper paste to set this up. And this is why it's really important to have a super sharp knife, because if this is dull when you start cutting, then you're going to end up ripping the wallpaper. So make sure you have a super sharp knife. If you're using one of these blades like I am, then pop off the last blade so that you have a nice fresh blade to use. Alright, so that was a lot easier than I thought. So remember, do this without kids, have a sharp knife, wallpaper paste, and you got this. It was easy. Look how good it looks. And this is why you do these kind of projects while kids are asleep. Thank you, Sigge. finished room. I hope you like the results. I am absolutely delighted with how it turned out, and I want to thank Boråstapeter for making this room possible so I could actually have finally have my dream living room. And I want to tell you to dare to try to do something different. I mean, try color, introduce patterns and wallpaper to your home. I mean, if it doesn't work out, you can always paint over it. So have a lovely summer. Hope you like it. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Have a lovely Friday. Go on.